Identifying.
Let's go.
You're about to experience the uncensored conversations, stimulating wit, and the thought-provoking wisdom. Bold, raw, and uncut. Right now, on the LanceScurv Show.
Gay people are not accessories to your straight life, says RuPaul. I'm going to read an article from the Griot, and I have a few comments that I wanted to make on that statement. RuPaul is not here for the trend of straight women using gay bars as tourist locations for their bachelorette parties. In speaking with Dinner Party Download, RuPaul said that women who hold their parties in gay bars are guilty of a larger problem of straight people using gay culture as an accessory. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, RuPaul said. You know, this is an important thing. People who live in the mainstream and the status quo think that everyone else is there to serve them. People don't know how to place me in their consciousness, RuPaul later said. They think, oh, you must be here to make me look good. That's what gay guys are, right? You're an accessory for my straight life. Just because your limited view is that everyone's there to serve you and that you're the only person in the world. It doesn't work that way. So I'm a brown-skinned gay man, he added. You know, I do drag. Early on, I learned that I can do it very well and make money. So people automatically ask me about beauty tips. And I get kids who write me and say, I wish you could do my makeup for my prom, or I wish you can do my makeup for my wedding. I'm like, bitch, I'm not a makeup artist. I'm an entertainer, okay? He continued on to say that straight people are, of course, welcome in gay spaces, but they must be aware of what those spaces are for and should not commandeer such spaces for their own pleasures, since gay and LGBT people do not exist in order to serve the interests of straight people. He has a point. But when I looked into it, I read the article. I read several articles this morning. And as you know, I like to read my articles and make comments on them. But this one stuck out to me because, you know, I don't have a problem with RuPaul saying what he just said. I think he's on point. I've observed that too. And although I'm not a gay male, I can look at the world through their lenses to be able to look beyond our own existence. Like he said, that they are not there for their sole purposes, to serve them. Well, we have to be able as human beings, as we mature, to be able to see the world beyond our own perspective, our own vantage point. And I can do that, you know, but one thing that this makes me think of, and this is not a knock on RuPaul. I don't know his work as an activist. I don't know how he feels as a black man when it comes to racist situations and incidents. I have not done any research on RuPaul per se. This just causes me to think overall, and I'm commenting overall, not just on RuPaul. But just like he said, we're not here to serve the interests of straight people as a gay community, LGBT community. Well, black people are not here just to serve the interests of whites. And we know that. But that's not what's always happening in practice. Now, this is an observation because I'm not a gay male. But it could also be looked at where the black gay community is not just there to serve the interests of the white gay community. And why do I split it up? And why am I saying this? Well, I've noticed a lot of racism in the LGBT community, also status. You know, if you're affluent as opposed to somebody who is a blue collar worker or just dirt poor. And many have not had the platform to speak out on that. And I see a lot of division that way. And many who are not black, who are fighting for so-called gay rights, they use black people who are gay in the LGBT community to reach their goals. And once it's over with, you're black behind, you're on your own when you have a black issue. Now, again, I say that I don't know RuPaul's stance on many other issues. He is an entertainer, so I'm not holding him down to be a politician. I'm not saying he has to do anything other than entertain if he chooses. That's his right. But he spoke on this, right? And it's making me think of the overall. Would RuPaul be allowed to speak out on black issues? Because many in the LGBT community who happen to be black, and I'm not saying RuPaul, but many black LGBT individuals don't want to see the world as a black person anymore. That's my issue. They abandon black issues, not all, but some. This is a very touchy issue, and I'm going to tackle it, and I'm going to explain myself completely. But so many want to see the world now just as a person in the LGBT community, and they're not black anymore. So they won't speak on those things anymore. But unless you told me you were gay, you know, there are other signs sometimes where we're flaming, right? And you kind of know. But if a person's quiet and we don't know what you are, there's no comparison to a person, as he said, as a brown-skinned gay man. You already know he's brown-skinned, so we can't hide with who we are. And I'm not going to go off and say, well, you know, the LGBT community piggybacked off of the black struggle. Now they have reached where they wanted to reach. That's going to stoke emotion, and we will talk about that in some future shows. All I want to know, would RuPaul be able to speak out on black issues as a black man, as he speaks out on LGBT issues as a gay man? That's the dilemma that I see with so many who are in position. Because you see, in this world, it seems as a black man, and I'm not throwing off on my LGBT brothers, right? But it seems like you'll be more accepted as a black man when you're gay. And I say man, but this can be anything, but black male masculinity and power and strength is not accepted in this world. And I want to ask many who are gay, black gay men who are listening. We know, and I had to clarify this myself, because in the past I would always speak about the gay agenda. And many of my gay brothers would say, Lance, man, come on, man. I don't know of any agenda. Nobody called me or mailed something to me and said, be quiet about this. We have an agenda to take over the world. I understand that, and I have to clarify, right? It doesn't mean all gay black men or gay males have this, but it's pushed in Hollywood. You can't doubt that. But since many gay men benefit from it, they're not going to knock it. Of course, you know, flame on, and you get accepted. And we know that it takes hard work, talent, and ability, determination, and focus. Still, it doesn't mean that, oh, you're gay, we're going to make you a star. I understand that. But we've got to clarify where we stand and what really is, so we don't get played for a bigger agenda. Do they really care about you, RuPaul? And again, I'm using him as an example. Do they really care about you as a black man? But if you speak out on gay issues and they can use you as a pawn in a chess game, it's all good for you. And I'm not coming at you. You said this, but I'm just using you as an example for a bigger issue. I love RuPaul. Come on, let's work. I love that song. Back in 1992, you couldn't stop me from playing it. I'm a musical individual. And again, people who know me, they understand that I know how much the LGBT community has contributed to culture, even black culture, black music. So don't get me as a person who is bashing. Yeah, I'm straight and I'm not with that, right? But I understand that there's so much contributions that it wouldn't be the same being black if it wasn't for the contributions of those who happen to be that, which that's not my concern, but they're there, right? I mean, clubs back in the day that I have not gone to, but we all know it. And look, I'm not as young as I look, right? But I've explored New York City, you know, as a straight black man. And there's no way that you can bounce around in the Village and bounce around on the West Side and bounce around up in Harlem or Brooklyn or Lower East Side without running into those spots that had a gay night or happened to be a gay club. Many of my lesbian friends, come on, Lance, let's go. I'm like, listen, hold me tight. I don't want anybody thinking, you know what I mean? That's how it is back in the day growing up. You had Sally's Hideaway, the Anvil, Haymarket, Mineshaft, Stella's, Rounds, the Glory Hole, the Toilet, Cat's Bar, Spike. Just the same way you had Show World, Legals. What's the other peep show spot? You had down Hellfire, right? Yeah, swing clubs. You had Lead Trap Peas. You had Plato's Retreat that I did go to back in 1985. So I understand. So I'm speaking as someone who grew up in a city that exposed us to so much. Even the High School of Art and Design that I went to on 57th Street and 2nd Avenue. Walking in the hallways, you would often see famed designer Marc Jacobs. This is the kind of root I have. And many of us from that part of the world and from the other bigger cities have. But the internet has changed things around now where we can Photoshop, we can touch up, we can act like, we can take photo ops and pictures with stars and act like we're something. You had to really be the real thing back then. And I do believe RuPaul is rooted in that. But when we speak out as entertainers, we have to understand how our words are being taken. And I'm not knocking you, RuPaul, because you're an entertainer. But do you really speak out as a black man at times? And do others? And if you don't, I'm not mad at you because you're merely an entertainer. But we can't forget who we are. We can't forget at the root who we are. And to me, that's a game overall of divide and conquer. One person sees himself as Jamaican. One person sees himself as a Northerner. We're talking about black people now. Another person sees himself as a gay male. So I can't get down with you because you're Jamaican. And this other person's from the North. This other person's been locked up for the last 10 years. So I'm an ex-felon. So I don't get down with any of that. We're so divided. My thing is about unity. And unity in the black community first. Because we are so divided. We've got to be able to come together on certain issues. And like RuPaul said, we're not there to serve your issues. He was speaking as a gay male to straight people. And I say, as a black man, we're not there to serve the overall issues because like my brother Malik Aziz said, unless the conversation involves black empowerment, it's a conversation that we don't need to have at all.
You better work.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LanceScurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LanceScurv.